Alright, good afternoon to you here. I've been working on the system all day here. I've made a lot of changes, and I'm still not 100% sure that we've got it, but we are definitely getting closer here. You'll notice my temperature down here is about the 15, we'll say. Pump's still circulating there. We are in daylight here right now, and that's the main thing. That's the main problem, I guess. There's 30 degrees up there in the upper part of the greenhouse. What I've done is I've got that fan, that fireplace fan is blowing again, and I seem to be getting fairly decent. I sealed up all the pipe with tuck tape. Tuck tape seems to do a little bit better in the moist conditions over duct tape. Duct tape seems to let go when it gets real cold or wet, so that tuck tape seems to be really working. Nothing that I tuck tape is getting warm anyway. So I've got the blower fan blowing out into the air exchanger, and as you can see, this steaming antifreeze here is the water still circulating through the stove. My thermostat, I do believe, is set for that roughly that 15 here, so once she cools down in here a bit, she will should turn everything back on. Now when you're heating the greenhouse at night, it doesn't have to be 25 above in here, although if it gets too cool it will slow the plants down a lot. So we're sitting at 30 degrees. We do have some sun influencing that right now, which, like I say, the real test will be tonight. What I've also done as well is I've run a power cord, a switched power cord outside here, and I'll show you. It's a little bit makeshift, but I just wanted to see how it worked. So I run my power cord out here, and it's actually going to a blower fan, which comes on when there's a call for heat. Now if we poke our nose in here, you can see the fire isn't really, well, you're seeing the smoke, but the fire's not really homping on her. I could probably open up that draft just a smidge. I took this top plug out so I can just peek at the fire to see how it responds to the blower fan here. So I ended up repairing that old blower fan that failed on me. I put a new motor in it. So I thought, what the heck, we'll try this anyway. Right now it's a little bit makeshift. I'd probably have to come up with a little bit better way of doing it if it's going to be the way to do it. But I just kind of wanted to give an update on that. The other thing too, I was having trouble with airlocks and steam, and like a fool, I actually had my water, I have two heat exchangers in here, they're both 1/4 inch copper, and I actually was forcing the hot water down the system rather than using, I believe it's called induction, to lift it. So now my hot out is here, whereas before it was right here. So it has, I've noticed it's made a fairly large difference. It's still a little early to say if I've got this or not, but I think we are taking steps in the right direction here. My biggest concern is, of course, losing too much temperature in the greenhouse, and in my case I can do that easily either by not having the system tuned or running out of wood before the night's over. So that's why it's so imperative that I manage to find a way to do this without running out of wood or heat at the very least by morning. So I haven't ruled out the big 45-gallon drum filled with warm water. I haven't ruled that out yet. This system here is very questionable. Right now it's running nice and warm, and it's contributing. Make sure I don't overheat that pump. It's contributing to the cause. However, it just doesn't seem to be a lot of heat. And I mean, that's expected. The radiator's nice and warm. But this blower system I have here, it's not the best setup I've had. I might have to come up with something better for that. Like I say, it does contribute. I don't know if I would, if I would run out and spend a bunch of money trying to get that. It's just stuff I had laying around. But if I were to change that blower motor, it might make a big difference too. You can see it's a fine line between, I got one motor running there, one running there, got a pump running there, and another blower outside. I could darn near heat my greenhouse for the amount of power I'm burning, but fortunately everything here is fairly power efficient. So I still think we're ahead of the game. And the heat we do get is obviously it's quicker, like it's fairly quick, where the electric heaters would run all night. They would never shut off. And that's where insulating your greenhouse is important too. So we are losing sunshine here. So I'm gonna keep the system going here for now, and we'll give her a good test here. See if she can hold some ground at night here. When the sun goes down, it is just day and night. It's like someone turned the deep freeze on in here. So it's a good test, and we're sitting at about, I'm gonna say, I think we're at least at -20 today, and I'm not even sure about the wind chill. So we're gonna have a pretty decent drop there, or difference in temperature. So anyway, I just thought I'd stand up an update here. I've been working lots all day, and I haven't really been taking much for notes here. So hopefully, like I say, hopefully this is a step in the right direction here, and I will definitely keep you posted. Good day to you here. Just doing an update here on what I've been working on today here. I've managed to get a makeshift blower that feeds the fire, and it's thermostatically controlled in the inside the greenhouse. So when there's a call for heat, there's actually an inline duct blower fan there, and the plant pot is just more or less restrictive, so it doesn't feed the fire too much. So, and it feeds back into the greenhouse here. And it's controlled by that thermostat down there on the wall under the radiant water there. And that same thermostat also controls the blower fan, which I've moved now. It's blowing instead of sucking. And it also controls that ceiling fan, or bathroom fan, that blows through this hot water radiant heat here. So right now the system is warm enough, or it's not calling for heat. We're at about 10 degrees, 11 degrees down there. See, the water's still getting pretty warm here. I'm kind of keeping an eye on it here, making sure that it's not going to overheat my pump. It's at about 50 degrees right now. Pump should be safe for 50 degrees. Just that pond pump going in there, and I've put a bit of a elbow on there to direct some of the air a little bit lower into the greenhouse to help cut out the thermostat a little sooner, because it does get pretty warm up in the upper regions of the greenhouse. So I was having some trouble there in my last videos with the pump air locking or steam locking. I've rerouted some lines. It turns out I was actually pushing the cold water in the top and the warm water out the bottom, which, if I had thought, I would have realized that warm water rises. So I think I was pushing, you could say, against the grain. Today it seems a lot better. I've switched some hoses around, so it comes in low and exits high. So I haven't had any steam lock issues today. So that's probably that solution there. Food for thought, I guess, if anyone else is having similar trouble. And I think if anything here, this blower fan, this bathroom blower fan is not beefy enough for this little radiator. It's just not blowing hard enough. The in and out is only probably a 10-degree difference, if that. And mind you, the water is going through fairly quickly, but it's just not a lot of oomph behind it. So it's I'm either gonna take that right out, or maybe beef the fan up. And I still haven't ruled out my 45-gallon drum as a heat sink. That still may be the way to do it. It would make the heat in the greenhouse a lot more residual. I just don't know how warm I'll get it, if it would be enough to carry the greenhouse until morning. So anyway, that's where we are here. We're still sitting with some sunlight here, so we're not getting perfect readings on the thermometers. That one there is about 24. We're gonna carry this on here tonight and see if we can keep a temperature here at nighttime. That's the real test for it. We're sitting at about minus 20 degrees today. I'm not even sure about the wind chill. It'll definitely be there too. So we'll keep an update on this. Alrighty, I hope you can hear me here with all these fans running. I'm trying to take the greenhouse down to its bare minimum temperature to see if I can maintain it. You can see I got my window fan. I took it back out of my radiator creation over there. I've got it in front of the air duct there, just to help distribute some of the air around it. It gives maybe a quicker warm up in the greenhouse here. So I just let it, I kind of let it sit, turn the thermostat down a ways there, and it started approaching like the 5 degrees or so, and that's 5 degrees from in the house. That's this sensor here. So that's upper temperature. So lower temperature, of course, is only going to be lower than that. So you can see we're still in around that 5 degrees. So I decided to come out and turn the thermostat on, and hopefully she'll be able to recover. You can see I've got my tarp rolled off here. I'm going to do a video on that another day. I'm not quite done the system, but basically it's just a crank system. I have a crank that rolls the tarp up and kind of offsets it, and then this here is a 2x4 that it rests on. So I'd have to cover the rest of this with a fixed tarp, and because in prior years I always used to have to get the missus to come out and give me a hand to we'd actually throw old sections of carpet over top to retain heat. So this year I thought I'll ease up on her a little bit, and I'll just build myself a crank system, and so far it works good. It does need some tie downs though, so you can tie it in the down position during windy nights. So it's still a work of art, and we'll maybe do a video on that once about 2 feet of snow melts here and the greenhouse is fired up. We'll do a video on that there. So far I'm finding this system is definitely a step in the right direction, because I now can control the fire with that blower fan out there. I see a huge difference. The biggest thing would be I can't let the fire idle too long, which I don't think it will be in this temperatures. But then the fire kind of simmers down. Then when you add air, it may not recover. So just looking here, I don't remember what it was the first time we looked at this, but I think we've come up at least a couple degrees already. And this is kind of in the line of fire of this fan blowing here. So we're sitting at about 12 degrees there. And this one up here, let's see if we got any change. Yeah, we've got maybe a degree or two of change here. So I'm going to see if this system's going to recover, and I'm going to maybe do a few more clips on performance as it gets darker here. But the cold is definitely biting in now that sun's going down, so I'll keep you posted. I forgot to mention one other thing here before it does get dark. I was finding the pump runs regardless of that thermostat. It keeps circulating, so I don't create any steam, and it eventually warms up that pail fairly reasonably. I've had it as high as about 55, almost 60 degrees Celsius. So I added a little bit more volume. I don't want to overheat that pump. But I did find it was steamy. And when it steams, you of course have water loss. So I managed to retrofit the lid back on there, and I run the discharge line through the original opening, and I popped the air breather right out of there, and the 3/4 inch line fit through it just nicely from the pump. And then I just had to carve out a little bit of a notch for the cord to run in. So that keeps my my evaporation at a minimum. And the only thing is, if you want to know what the water temperature is, you kind of have to shoot it. And right now we're sitting at 58 degrees on the water. So just thought I'd mention that there while it was still daylight out here. All right. Oh, another thing here. It's only been about 5 or 6 minutes, and you can see we're at about 17 degrees on this little guy here. And I'll take you back up here while we got you here. And we're sitting at about 9 degrees there. All right, we just had our thermostat cut out, or the system shut down there. And I'm figuring it took about anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to raise our temperature in here from about 5 degrees up to 10. Sorry, it actually has come down a little bit since I noticed that. A little trouble with my camera there, but it was up at 10 there. So I've got my thermostat set at 2, and I'm just kind of hanging tough here to see when it's going to cut back in, see how much temperature loss we're going to get in the greenhouse before it decides to cut back in. 10 is more than acceptable at nighttime. In fact, we can go down, I believe, as far as 2 degrees, but that's not something I'd chance. I'd probably remain, you know, at minimum of 4 or 5 degrees. So anyway, we will hang tough here and see when this thermostat cuts back in. And we're losing our daylight here. We're just down on the ass end of the sun here, so it's going to get incredibly cold incredibly fast. Out for now. Alright, we're still waiting on that thermostat to kick back in here. And we do have some temperature loss here. We're sitting on about 7 or 8 degrees there. But I did want to show you here. I just shot the temperature of my antifreeze, my coolant, and it's approaching the 64 degrees. A little bit too rich for my blood. So, yeah, we're at 65 there. So what I've done is I've wired this blower, which cools the coolant. I've wired it so it's constantly on. And I've actually, because I'm out of receptacles here, I've actually wired this fan to come on with the system. So hopefully that makes sense, but it's just in order to keep this pail a little bit on the cooler side, and having one small heater going continuously probably isn't a bad idea. So still waiting for that thermostat to cut in, but I guess we'll just shut up and wait. Alright, she fired up again here at about 5 degrees. I've put a thermostat down here, or sorry, a thermometer, and it's still showing, you know, the over the 10 degrees, which is a good thing. Over by the door it's a little bit cooler, but I think I'm going to end up turning it up a little bit past the 2 there, which really doesn't matter. That's just my own settings here. I just need to know the system's going to be able to keep up. I'm having a hard time cooling down that pail down there, and my other thought is if I should take this little motorcycle rad and put it up in front of one of those window fans, or if I should just get another window fan and put it behind there, something with a little bit more push, because I am losing my pail here. It is starting to get uncomfortably warm, and I don't, oh, it is coming down a little bit here. It's come down about 2 degrees. That's a good sign. I don't want to lose that pump. That's a brand new pump in there, so they're not giving those things away. So I'm just going to ride this out here and see where it shuts off, and if I'm comfortable with my thermostat setting, I'm going to head in the house and give this thing a chance to prove itself here for a little while. Alright, out for now. Okay, I just learned that that radiator is just not enough. It is not taking the inlet water temperature, and it's not taking enough off of it. So I kind of had to put the brakes on my stove there. I'd unplugged the blower for now. It may put us back into a position where we're going to need this bigger one here. It would have about a 30 to 40 degree difference, and I'd never ever heat that water up enough to be concerned. And the last shot I took was 78 degrees. We're down to 70 here now. Like I say, there's a $65 pump in the hole there, so we don't really want to burn that one down. So I've got the fans all running here. I've manually hooked them all up, and I've unplugged that blower fan outside for now. And we're going to try and get the system to cool itself down. I've cranked it up. So I guess we'll figure out how warm we can actually get it in here. Right now we're at about the 12 degrees or so there. So by the look of things, it's going to be enough. It's going to be enough to handle our springtime temperatures. What I will have to do though is regulate that water temperature, because that rad is just not enough cooling, and that blower fan is just not enough cooling. So this one here, I always did like how it worked. It was nice heat off of it, and it had a nice inlet and outlet difference was fairly strong on it. So I may either have to try and unplug this one or find something similar, because this little rad here just isn't cutting it for now. So anyway, that's where we're at out for now. Well, good morning to you. We're back here with the barrel heater for my greenhouse. We're still trying to work all the bugs out of her here, and I've come up with some different things here, and I'm almost ready to say I'm quite happy with the system. I keep changing it, and I forget, or I hope you can forgive me for so many different attempts here, but I think it's important to show what may and may not work. So the first thing I did this morning is I got rid of this little radiator. It was producing heat, but I wasn't able to extract enough from it to keep my coolant from getting too hot. So what I did is I found an old heater out of my skid steer. It's actually got the heater core in it, and then the blower fan. Well, the blower fan was no good, so I've taped up the access here where it used to draw air from, and I've actually gone in through the back where there was another smaller hole, and I've just put my my bathroom blower fan, you know, what you'd find in the ceiling of your bathroom, and that's just tied in, blowing directly into the back of it. I hope you can see that there. So this part of the system runs continuous. As long as that barrel heater's running, this is going to run, simply to keep my pump from getting too hot from the hot. If I shut the fan off, my antifreeze continuously gets warmer and warmer, and I don't want to overheat my pump in there. So I'm sitting around the 50-60 degrees here, at about 55 right now. So it's running all the time, just putting gentle heat down low. So it just kind of hovers away there, and it does direct heat down to the lower portions here. As you can see here, I've got a thermometer over here, and it's sitting at about the 12 degrees or so. So that's the first part. The second part I've done is I didn't want to lose a lot of shelf space to this system, so I've got my hot air coming in there from my heat exchanger, and I've mounted this window fan up above so that this is what turns on when there's a call for heat. So the fan and this blower down here, that's the cold air return to the stove, for the forced air. That is on the call for heat, like that'll be that'll be controlled by the thermostat. So when the thermostat calls for heat, that blower starts up. It'll blow air out that pipe. This fan starts up, and the blower outside on the fire lights up. So right now the fire's at an idle because it's not calling for any heat right now. And I've taken a little bit of time here. I've moved my thermostat over here as well. It's a bit more sensitive over here. I found down by the door there, it worked fine putting the thermostat down here, down lower. If you've watched my other videos, you'd know what I'm talking about. However, I was a little bit concerned about you know, dripping water on it and stuff. I do have everything grounded, but I just thought it was up and out of the way. Maybe I wouldn't have. I'm always worried about kids sticking a screwdriver in something or whatever. So right now I've got this cover off because I think it may impair the thermostat. So I just let a little bit of air go over that. I may end up putting a little bit of a grate over it. I have some expanded metal or something, just so people can't stick anything in there without really wanting to. So this controls the receptacle, and that controls, like I said, that fan and the blower on the stove. And this system here is run continuously. Now I'm probably going to hook this system up, this warm water system. I'll probably hook it up to a timer so that during the day it's not running, and if I forget to unplug it or shut it down, I'm not wasting power. But it's just sitting in around the, you see we got about 50, in the 50s there. Now when we call for heat, that temperature increases because the fire flares up. So a steady 50 degrees is what it seems to be at. I've got the valve wide open there. I've tried different positions, but it plays with the temperature of the pail. And like I say, I got a $65 pump in there, so I don't really want to burn it down. It's I don't. They're expensive enough as it is, and I don't really want to be replacing it all the time. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at here. We're holding the temperature in the greenhouse here. It would appear, you know, about the 17 degrees, and we still haven't cut in. So what I found is on position 4 on this knob here, we got about a 20 degree cutout temperature, 15 down low, which is excellent. And the cut in temperature is 15 degrees and 10 degrees. So it's going to hold the temperature, the lower part of the greenhouse, between 10 and 15 degrees, which actually is a little bit warm. It doesn't need to be that warm, but come springtime, it's probably still going to idle the system. It does. The system only cuts in very shortly. We are in the daylight here, but I have left my tarp covered to kind of imitate nighttime. It's not perfect, I know, but it's as close as I'll get it for now. So I'll take you out to the stove here and show you what's going on out here. So I'll just peek you through this peek hole here. I don't think you'll see much. Anyway, here's my blower, and I've mounted it a little bit more securely just with some old brackets I had just to keep her on there, because I can't really come up with a better way right now because I didn't build the stove to accommodate a blower fan. So when you open her up, you'll see there isn't much going on in there right now. Kind of more of a haze. I've got my my draft kind of at about half right now. Seems to work good there. So all in all, I'm fairly happy. I'm not happy with the look of this thing, but that's going to have to be addressed here, and I'll have to straighten her out and make it a little bit more pleasing to the eye. But it was my main concern to get it working efficiently, and at this point with wood, I'm finding I have to stoke the fire probably every couple hours. And I do have some coal I'd like to finish up using in the spring here. So between the two of them, I think we'll be doing all right here. So really, all we have is that constant noise of the blower there, and then when this system cuts in, it is very quick. Like I'm actually impressed with how quickly it warms the greenhouse up, and it seems to hold. Like it, I don't know if it's that little blower going there that's holding it, or if it's that the temperature outside is increasing or something. We're at about -15 today, I think. So there's a pretty reasonable temperature difference with between indoors and outdoors here right now. So I think it's holding up pretty good, because in the spring we're not really dealing with double-digit minuses. We're more, I shouldn't say that. We'll get down to -10, -15 sometimes, but for the most part, you know, it dips into the minuses, but just not enough to really compensate a massive heating system. So that's where we're at for now here. Like I say, I'm fairly comfortable with the system now. It's just going to take a little bit of cleaning up in here, and once I do run the system, I will probably give an update, because to build the system and have it work once or twice is great. But when you run something for a longer time, you'll find a lot more things that may or may not be user-friendly. So I will definitely try the system out here, and I'll probably give an update on it, just to kind of, you know, there's no sense following my tracks if it's not gonna work for the long term. So I'll leave you with that for now, and thanks for watching.